choose to think. Your thinking will impact your words. Frequent used words will impact your actions. Continuous actions, they'll develop your habits. I am called habit. Who am I? The poet said, who am I? I am your constant companion, called habit. I'm your greatest helper, and I'm your heaviest burden. I can lift you upward, or I can drag you down to failure. If you teach me to do a thing repeatedly, I'll be sure to do it automatically. I am easily managed, but you must be firm. I am called habit. Habit is my name. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am called habit. I am not a machine. I am not a machine. Yet I operate with the precision of a machine, yet the intelligence of a human being. I am called habit. Habit is my name. Habit. Teach me and train me. If you teach me and train me, I will lay the work at your feet. If you're easy with me, I promise, I will destroy you. I will destroy you. Run me for profit. You can run me for profit, or you can run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Who am I? I am called habit. Habit is my name. You show me how a person will think, and I will show you how they will respond and act. Who am I? I am called habit. Who am I? I am called habit. You can create your new reality. In life, nobody hits rock bottom. You only hit rock foundation. So with that premise, let's build a solid foundation. Something we can build upon, stand upon, live upon. Remember, as you build that foundation, then your falls will be shorter. They'll have less impact. Whether we win or whether we lose, it is the continuum of doing things over and over and over that
your question. Everybody say question. If there was a way that I could say how great you could be, would you listen to me? If you wanted to listen to me for just a minute, say I. Ah, good. Okay, here's another question. Everybody say question. If there was a price that you could pay that would give you the life that you seek, would you pay that price? If you wanted to pay the price to achieve your goals and dreams, say I. All right, we're coming, okay. Last question. Everybody say question. If there was some work that you could do, would you roll up the sleeves? Now you know the work is on you. If you were to go to work for your goals and dreams, say I. And if there was a promise of silver and gold, of pleasures and treasures and fortunes untold, would you do what it takes? Would you do what it takes no matter how tough? And would you dare never quit when the going gets rough? Would you do what it takes? Would you build something great? Would you let it build you? You have a dream, you have a goal, there's something else you must do. Do what it takes. Because as you're building that dream has to build you. That dream has to build you. That dream has to build you. If there was a price that you could pay that would give you the life that you seek, would you pay that price? If you wanted to pay the price to achieve your goals and dreams, say I. Say I. If there was some work that you could do, would you roll up the sleeves? Now you know the work is on you. If you were to go to work for your goals and dreams, say I. You have a dream, you have a goal, there's something else you must do. Because as you're building that dream has to build you. And if there was a promise of silver and gold, pleasures and treasures and fortunes untold, that dream has to build. Would you do what it takes no matter how?
Well, hello, and good evening to all. My name is Sir Dr. James Dentley. I want to welcome you to the Psychology of Communication. And this entire conversation is really going to be about the things that I've been teaching now for over 30 years, for more than 30 years, and speaking in front of audiences from living rooms to over 25,000 and in about 20 different countries as well. I just want to deliver some value, some content to so many people who have been inquiring about our courses and what it is that we do. I do realize there's so many people there who have different speaker training, so I do appreciate you being here. I really value that as well. But as we go through the conversation, I want you to know that the thing that we're most proud of is that what we teach, what we share, other people just don't. They don't. Even the people I've trained who now have speaker programs still don't really teach what it is that I teach. So I want to walk through this program for you and let you know everything about what it is we do, who we are. And for so many people now that are finding their voice, that realize they have a story to tell, I want to salute you. I also want to share with you that I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about how do you really monetize this? Because even when people are working in a nonprofit arena or they're working because they're in their joy, they need to have the financial substance to grow, to expand, to scale, whatever it is that they're doing. You know, everything in life is meant to grow and to thrive and to stretch towards the heavens. So why not you? And it really comes down to your thinking, the techniques, proximity, your willingness to invest in yourself. But I would say the thing that's most important would be that the way that you choose to think. You know, I had a mentor many years ago, and he said that my financial intellect was equal to my bank account. Now, he didn't say it directly just to me. There were about five of us that said ouch all at the same time. So it was a true statement. And I've learned that I don't take many things personal at all, you know, outside of my family and somebody saying something absurd about that. But really to understand that there's always room for growth. That if you want to impact, empower, inspire the lives of other people, it begins with your life. You know, I meet so many people that want to communicate in the nonprofit space. However, they don't have the funding. So they ask everyone else to fund it for them and not really understanding when you're in that position, even though it's not really anything wrong with it. They have GoFundMe campaigns where people can volunteer to do that, but they're taken away from what that person is doing for their family or the goodwill they want to do. So what I've been really, really great at teaching people is how to create your own revenue stream. You know, because right now we have 7 nonprofit organizations that we serve under our foundation. And being a knight and the Baron of St. James of Cappadocia and also the Grand Prior General of the United States of America with the Royal Order, our entire life is faith, hope, and charity. You know, but I had to learn how to move from being homeless in a car and getting myself in a position where I can self-finance and then people can join me. I was speaking with a friend of mine today, and he was sharing with me that he had $7 million invested in his company. He's extremely successful, but his burn rate is $40,000 a month. I mean, he loses $40,000 a month. So even people are successful, and you can just put the numbers wherever you want them. That doesn't mean that they have enough to give out to a person. But I always believe that your success is really someone else's miracle. That as you become more successful and learn how to express yourself, then you can speak into the universe because there is no lack of financial substance in this universe. It's just a matter, are you willing to learn to tap into it? And when I say learning, a lot of these things happen in the silence because everything in the universe communicates. And communication, 57% is nonverbal. So it's not about what you say, it's about how you position yourself and who you are. You know, I used to tell people out of the 1 million people I've been in front of and the tens of thousands of people I've coached that do you really want to be successful? You just want to be right. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this conversation, the psychology of communication. Now, I do want to tell you that at the end of this conversation, I'm going to give you some gifts. I'm going to give 4 gifts out, but you have to remain to the end of this presentation to get those gifts. And if you're here at the end, Then our team will be emailing those gifts, and every single week you'll receive a new gift, a new gift, a new gift, and I'll let you know what they are at the end of this presentation. Just for showing up, just for being here, I want to be able to give you something that I believe that will be of great benefit and great value to you. So let us go ahead and begin. All right, now let's start with who am I? And why am I qualified? Excuse me. Well, I've been speaking, training, and coaching now for over 30 years. I will admit to you that I've been an entrepreneur before that, probably over a decade prior to getting into the speaking arena. However, I had successes and I had challenges. I made millions of dollars and I've lost millions of dollars. And then I tried again. I've invested my life savings and all of my assets, everything I knew, and it helped me to make money, but it didn't help me to really keep it. And even though whether I had a business that was of service to other people or it was something that had to do with sales, the bottom line, I wasn't a quitter. I tried over and over and over. But then in 1994, I began to really understand the value of mentorship, to learn, to become coachable. And becoming coachable, even from a standpoint of starting life all over again in 1994 and sleeping in a car and trying to build a business with no resources, no phones. And for the very first time, I stopped asking for help. I didn't call mother. I didn't call my sisters. I didn't call my friends. My mentor let me realize through his example, I just needed to grow up and take responsibility for everything that happened in my life. And when I took that responsibility, my life changed. I've written 5 books. I have one that's out now. I had 4 out earlier. They're being redone and they're going to be back out. My next book, The Sixth Frequency, is coming out very soon. I have another book on speaking coming out very soon as well. But I have 7 study guides, 7 workbooks that I've created. I've spoken on over 1,000 stages throughout the world, and I've sold, 6 figures in 90 minutes. I made, in some occasions, $180,000, $200,000 in 90 minutes, or maybe almost $500,000 in 3 days. I've coached over 100 individuals to become millionaires. Now, I do want to give full disclosure. I never take credit for the work that someone else did. All I simply did was teach them the principles that I was taught. I always say it's like learning how to make a great cake. Once you know how to bake a cake, you know that cake that grandma makes or the macaroni and cheese that your auntie makes. Once you know how to cook, you can cook in any kitchen because the principles are the same. But the key factor is that we must yield to those principles and operate in them, or they operate on top of us. Now, it's very easy to find out if you're on the right track because the results will follow. I was knighted by the oldest royal order in the world, the Royal House of Cappadocia, Constantine and St. Helen. I've also been elevated to become the first African-American baron in that royal order and the first baron in the United States of America. And now I serve as the Grand Prior General of the United States, which now they have entrusted me through faith, hope, and charity, through everything that happens with the royal order in this country and in other parts outside of the United States. It's about the standard of the work that I do. Even in the home-based business arena, which I've been extremely successful in, I never lower my standards. I just don't do it. And I find out when I tried lowering those standards, it really hurt the people I really wanted to help, to get them to elevate, to see who they really are, what they really can do. And it always comes down to communication, but communication is an inside-out job. How are you communicating even internally? I've done sales training, I've done many things, but yet my favorite thing is always being able to tell great stories. From the time I was a little kid. So Inspired to Speak Action Camp, Inspired to Speak Institute, Inspired to Speak LLC. Our vision is to create a global community, a movement, if you will, of inspired individuals who have found their voice. People that want to be greater communicators in their family. They may be in the spiritual realm and they're teaching Sunday school or in their spiritual leader inside of their spiritual belief. People that just want to be a greater communicator in the workplace. People that want to get on the stage and rock it. One young lady last week, she said, I'm a speaker And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, you're a talker. And there's two totally different things. And the one thing that I've learned is that when you get trained as a professional speaker, when you get the training for those things, then you can really elevate, because then you understand the psychology, not something that you create. It's something that stands on solid ground, something that's principle based, something that will always stand, that will deliver the results each and every time. Okay. Now, our mission at Inspired to Speak, our mission is to empower individuals to discover their voice, master the art of influence, and communicate with confidence, clarity, and conviction. Through our world-class training, and we always try to better our best. That's one thing I could tell you about myself and my staff, is that we always look at what's next, because there's always more. There's always more. But the foundation from the time of Aristotle and Socrates sitting around the fire, when they talked about the concepts of ethos, logos, and pathos, the art of communication has been here since the beginning of the human race. So I want to ask you, what type of speaker are you? Are you a corporate speaker? Are you more of a teacher, maybe for children in Sunday school or in the classroom? Are you a teacher and a person that can develop people in the workplace, in the corporate space? Because the communication is going to be different based upon who you're speaking to, because you have to speak into the listening of another human being. And that's the key. And we're going to talk about some of the things that you can do that can help you get there. And that's our goal for the day. So identify, what type of speaker are you? Are you a motivational speaker? Do you want to inspire people? Because I'm going to tell you about each and every one of those industries. And I've worked with some of the best people in the world. I've coached a lot of world-class speakers throughout this world as well. And I can tell you that there's certain things based upon what your desires are, and the thing that just lights your fire, where you want to position yourself. If it's making money, well, platform speakers always make the most, because they're selling something of value from a stage, or they're selling it on a webinar. And once they master that, they build a community, and they're able to take that community, work with people on a deeper level, and help them through their journey. Those are the people that really create the most impact. Then you have your motivational speakers and your sales trainers. So people come into a company to inspire, to identify the mission, the vision of that company. And they bring in speakers who have the topics that are needed for what's happening inside of their company. Or they want to get people there, and they want to be motivated, inspired, and have a good time. And they make a great living as well. You know, being a motivational speaker is phenomenal. But with that, you want to have the marketing engine, because once you're done, well, you have to get another gig. You got to find someplace else to speak at. So you're definitely going to have to create the marketing. And you have to do it even on a platform speaker, but it's a little easier because you're in control of everything at that point. But there's nothing wrong with it. And I say you should try to do both if you can. Maybe you're a teacher and you're an educator, and you're not really trying to make any additional money. You want to be better and more effective and impactful. And it is what you have chosen to do. All those things. But also, I think one of the most important parts of communication and becoming a speaker, and identifying what type of speaker you are and what type of speaker you aspire to be, is a person that knows how to speak into your own life, even on a cellular level, to be able to speak life, to understand the power of the words that you share, to understand that, and Les Brown says it best, the best speakers make the fewest words go the furthest. I remember I've been training speaker camps for over 30 years, and 4 individuals from my camp were telling me about a gentleman named Ryan Long. He was in California. They told me he has these nonprofit events, and they're celebrity based. And I wasn't that interested. I was part of the United for Humanity. It was already celebrity based. All these television stars were always there, and athletes, and I was the Icon Business Award awardee, and so I wasn't really into the celebrity thing. But the gentleman called me up that owned the organization. It was about 9:45 at night. I'm pulling in my driveway. It's dark. The lights are on in the driveway, and the pathway lights, like runway lights on the ground. And he says, "Hello, my name is Ryan Long. You don't know me, but I've heard a lot of great things about you. 4 people told me about you, and I just want you to share my story with you, if you would allow me." And me being a storyteller, I said, "Oh, by all means, I love a story." And he shared it. And I really liked his story. He wanted to make his mother proud. He found that in his heart, he really wanted to inspire other people, to be able to give back. That was the thing, his redemption, the thing that really lit his fire in his life. And when he told me about it, he said, well, I don't have a speaking slot, but I'd like you to come and see what we do. And I said, well, I really don't want to come to California for that. I'm not really into the celebrity thing and just to be there. And he said, well, I don't have any speaker slots. I said, well, yeah, but I think I'll pass this time. He called me back the next day and he says, hey, look, I researched you. I'm a fan. You've got to be there. I don't have a speaking slot, but I can put you on a panel. Now, normally I wouldn't get on a panel. I mean, tickets were $1,500 each. I said, okay, we'll come. So myself, my wife, Baroness Cara, and my vice president and my dear other son, Jose Baeza. We got our tuxedos and here we are off to California. And we get there and I asked him when I arrived, I said, well, if I'm on a panel, who are the speakers? And he said, Halle Berry, John Travolta, Anthony Mackie, he plays the new Captain America, Hawkeye in the Avengers, right? Quincy Jones and Russell Simmons. And I said, okay, I'm in. So when I get on the panel was maybe about 12 minutes and there were 4 of us. And the reason I brought this up is that the great speakers know how to make the biggest impact in a short amount of time. In the 3 minutes in which I spoke, those 3 minutes where 3 questions were asked of me, I had the right answers in the right tone to create the right impact, to shake the audience and to create an experience with people in that moment. And I get off the stage. A week later, he calls me up saying, that was fantastic what you did. People were talking about you. I said, I was just on a panel. He said, well, when are you coming back to Los Angeles? And I said, in a couple of weeks, we'll be back there. It just so happened to be true. And I go back there and he said, I want to have lunch with you. We sit down and he says, look, I want you to help you and your wife start your own nonprofit. I understand you're on the board of several, but I want you to start your own. And that's how we found it already, always amazing. He said, we're going to take you throughout the country. We're going to showcase you. We're going to help you to raise money and teach you how to do it and to create an impact. We think the work you do is incredible. He said, as a matter of fact, we're going to give away an award, a very special award. It's going to be the biggest award we've ever given out. We've never done it before. He says, my mother secures these awards. The same people who make the Oscars create these awards, and we want you to be the first nominee. I said, wow. Then he said, no, not nominee. I want you to be the first recipient. So, impressive. I didn't ask him why. I was in shock, didn't know what all this meant and how it unfolded. I just got up there for my 3 minutes of conversation to make a great impact. And I'm saying it to say, you don't want to go on and 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 on to make a point. Because when you're talking, do you just want to be heard? Or are you saying something of substance to impact another person? And I want you to really think about that, because I'm going to talk about today how to create an impact, whether you're sharing the stories or making a point or in general conversation, how to create the impact that you want. Even if it's with your significant other, how do you speak into the nervous system of another human being? How are you present? When do you know when to be quiet and stop talking? So there's one thing about speaking. There's another thing having the need just to be heard. That's 2 different things, because if I'm speaking and you're disinterested, well, you tune off, and I get that. Well, first of all, I don't want you to miss one of the 4 gifts I'm going to give at the end, so stay to the end, and I'm going to try to make this entertaining, a little funny, but more importantly, impactful. So when you're looking at becoming a speaker, just think about those things, because as this story unfolded, when they had still never heard me speak in front of a stage, like speak. And then when it came time to get my award, now the awards before mine were Matthew McConaughey, Ashton Kutcher, Jack Canfield from Chicken Soup for the Soul, Buzz Aldridge, the second man on the moon, and then I was the closer getting the big award. And they told me you have 6 minutes to speak. And I have a go-to, and I rocked it in 6 minutes. And people came to me and wanted me to go into a recording studio to create albums based on that. Now, I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm saying that to inspire you, because everyone has a voice. And if you pay close attention to what I'm going to share with you tonight, and if you choose to even go further with us, then we want to help you find your voice, because your success is someone else's miracle. and your success is ours. We're here to help you achieve whatever is, if you're willing to do the work. So I'll start with this. If there was a way that I could say how great you could be, are you willing to listen to me? You're willing to listen wherever you are. Just say, oh, yeah. Oh, I hear you. I see you too. If there was a price that you could pay that would give you the life that you seek, are you willing to pay that price today? Are you willing to pay the price of your goals and dreams? Say, oh, yeah. Oh, I feel you. I feel you. I see a couple of you guys smiling. Yep, you're doing it. And if there was some work that you could do, are you willing to roll up your sleeves because the work is on you? If you're willing to go to work, say, oh, yeah. And if there was a promise of silver and gold, of pleasures and treasures and fortunes untold, would you do what it takes no matter how tough? And would you dare never quit when the going gets rough? Would you build something great? Would you let it build you? I know you have a dream, but there's something else you must do. While you're building a dream, that dream has to build you. So if there was a way that I could say how great you could be, would you listen to me? Let me ask you a question. If you have pen and paper, I want you to write down your response. What's stopping you right now from having everything you wanted? What's stopping you from beginning right here, right now, to make the investment? How much are you worth? And what's stopping you right now? What's stopping you? Is it fear? Well, if it's fear, we're going to help you overcome that. It's really simple. Write this down. When you're speaking, I don't care if it's to a loved one, to a classroom, or to anyone, you are not the star of the show. Please remember that. For the last 30 years, I've been training everyone, every family member. They started off as clients, and now we collect people. That you're never the star. You are the director. The audience is the star. A person's favorite topic is themselves. Stop yapping about yourself. But if you're afraid, you're thinking about you. Am I going to say the right thing? How are people going to view me? How do I look? It cannot be about you. Maybe there's no clear message or signature talk. You don't have it together. You don't have those thoughts together. You're going to teach you how to create a congruent message that takes people on a journey within themselves that they can never go on by themselves. Or to create a signature talk and understand the psychology, the hypnotic rhythm, that when you're speaking, that people want to invest in what you're offering because you're solving a problem. What else stops you? Lack of consistency and visibility. Yeah, you just can't get out there enough. Well, we're going to teach you how to do that. I remember when I first started, I was so afraid to speak, man, I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. I was called upon to do a presentation. They said, you're up in 2 weeks. I did not sleep. I was speaking to the steering wheels and the doorknobs. And my roommate in Atlanta, Georgia, his girlfriend would say, who is James? And they're talking to all night. I was just so nervous. So we're going to teach you the ladder to walk through, the ladder that you're going to ascend, to move all those things away from you and show you how I end up making millions of dollars and helping other people to do the same. Treating speaking as a hobby and not as a business. Yeah. You know, there was a time that very few speakers were out there on the circuit. When I started to speak and I got the bug, I saw my dear friend of 30 years, Mr. Les Brown, on PBS. And I didn't know that someone else could do it. I didn't know there was space for 2 people. So I shied away for maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years because that was his space. I didn't think I could do it. Now everyone is finding their voice. It's a little bit different, but if you're treating it like a hobby, it can be a great living for you. Because if you're able to create a greater living, expressing yourself, then you can create breakthroughs and outcomes for so many people that you know and people that you are yet to meet. Don't treat it like a hobby. A life worth living is worth recording and worth sharing because you create the path that allows other people the belief to say, I can do it as well. I always say you live your life forward. You understand your life backwards. I remember when I started reading a book called What Makes the Great Great by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. He was the first person I ever saw speak in my life from a executive luncheon. I'd never been to one. 1994 in June. So much power. So much command of language. He had poems and stories, and I said, I want to be like that. Now, he didn't know it. No one else in the room knew that I was standing in an apartment hotel at that point. I lost everything. I moved out the house with my roommate after a mishap with his cousin. My checks came missing out of the checkbook. I'll leave that one alone. But the bottom line is that a week later, every day I had to find enough money just to have a roof over my head. And I never forget, I'm in that room and I spent the last $20 on a book. Last $20 called Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. I went up to Dr. Kimbrough, this professor in Atlanta, Georgia. I said, Dr. Kimbrough, tonight I have to speak in front of an audience for the very first time. I've been practicing, but I am so nervous. Can you give me some pointers? He looked at me and smiled. He said, young man, I was a younger man then. He said, I'm not a speaker, I'm an author. I simply talk about what other people communicate to me. But I'm going to give you the number to someone that can help you. Tell him that I gave you the number and he'll receive you. I was so excited. I put the paper in my pocket. I handed him the book. He wrote in the book, to the world's greatest speaker, believe. And those words jumped out that book into my heart. And I went out that night and knocked it out. When I got back to my apartment hotel, the hotel was really dingy. It's dim lights. The beds were like slumped in, more gum on the floor than floor. Whoa. I went in my pocket and emptied them, and there was Les Brown's number. It took me 2 more years to communicate with him because I didn't even think I was worthy. But I did my work, and we became great friends and like brothers for over 30 years. No conversion strategy. How do you take your conversation and make it into dollars? And then how do you create money? How do you keep money? And how do you help that money have babies? I've had to learn a lot over my 30 years, and I have. And now I teach it as well. Poor speaker development and feedback loop. Okay, great. We know what that's about. If you haven't been trained, that means you're on your own, and we all have blind spots. And you can kind of judge that. And you can talk to any great speaker that's out there right now, that no one did it by themselves, ever. And if no one's hiring you, that's because you need more training. Everything you want is at hand. You just don't know how to get it. So tonight, I'm going to peel back the onion and give you the beginning steps of learning how to find what you want and to wake up with happiness and joy every single day with the Inspired to Speak Institute. Now, I'm going to talk about personality types. There are 4 personalities. We have all 4, but you're anchored in certain personalities. But it's not just learning what your personality is, but how do you communicate into the listening of someone who is not like you? Okay? One thing I always share with people, look, I am honored when someone listens to me because you don't have to. Nobody has to listen to you. A person's greatest topic is themselves. They want to talk about themselves, but they can't get it in if you keep talking about yourself. Okay, so you can't be a guide if it's you always talking about you. Blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Learn how to become inner directed. See, there's a difference between being intellectual and having intelligence. Intellect has to dissect everything and create meaning for it. Okay, they've been trained that way. Nothing wrong with it. Intelligence simply sees. Intelligence is like the sky. Intellect is like the clouds, moving, dissecting, trying to figure it out, knowing this, knowing that, instead of being patient, being present, being a seeker, and simply see it and feel it. Some of the greatest football players have told me, because I coach some of them in speaking, is that their mentors taught them they must learn to see the field without looking. So I'm going to talk about personality types and then soundtracks, how to use your voice like the soundtrack of a movie. When you see a movie, no matter what outcome they want you to experience, there's music to complement the outcome of the scene. It's to anchor that scene. If they get you to get all teary-eyed up because it's a love story, well, there's music that complements that, because everything in the universe is driven by music. The same keys on the piano are the same keys and numeric instruments that drive the universe and drive the human existence and the body. We operate on a rhythm. So I'm going to talk about soundtrack, okay? How to create the soundtrack of your movie, of your conversation with your voice. I'm going to talk about psychology and then stagecraft. We have a camp that's 4 days virtual and 4 days live, and we drill this over and over and over. And even in the camp, You can't keep 100% of it. That's why we have a backup. So after the camp, they stay enrolled, stay there, and then coming back to the camp again and do it again and again. Then one day you just have it. You have it. You have it. You have it. And it just flows from you, through you. So let's talk about personality types. So the 4 personalities I want to talk about are the sharks, the dolphins, the urchin, and then the whale. Sharks are fast thinkers. They move fast. They make decisions quick. They see something in the water they want, they attack. But sharks are very money motivated. They're extremely driven. They love to win at all costs. They come off sometimes of being unfeeling and lack of caring. They just want what they want. Okay. But there are people that will go through a brick wall to get it. So you want them on your team. But they drive fancy cars and flashy cars, nice jewelry. They power dressers. They're always dressed up. Those are your sharks. Now, we all know people who are sharks. True? If you know some sharks, just type yes in the chat. All right. And then dolphins. Dolphins love to have a lot of fun. Man, dolphins love to have so much fun. It is crazy. A dolphin, you can tell them a mile away because they like a lot of colors. They wear a lot of different colorful things. If you see someone with colors in their hair, dolphin. If you see someone with big jewelry around their neck or around their wrist, dolphin. Nose rings, that's the dolphin. They are the life of the party, but they're coming to the party late, okay? They are not as organized as most, but they're a lot of fun to be around, but they need help in organization. Got it? Then you have the urchin, urchin. Urchins are very methodical. They move slower. They want to analyze everything. A lot of your engineers will be your urchins, okay? They wear conservative colors. The sharks are power dressers. The dolphins are colorful. The urchins are more brown, gray, and blue, sometimes at the same time. A dolphin wouldn't be called dead with that, but very conservative. You see some woman with a dress shirt on, they have a pocket right here, and things are in the pocket, urchin. But they're very organized. They hate when things start late. It must start on time, and they do not like hype. They like information. You give a lot of information to a dolphin and make their behind go to sleep. An urchin, you got to give it to them. They want to know facts. They need meat. Okay? And then you have your whales. Your whales also kind of take their time because these are your nurturers. Your whales operate with love and caring. Social workers, people who work in hospice or care for patients in home care. That's leaning more towards becoming a whale. They don't really care so much about the money, but they care if you're having a good time or are you treating people the right way. Are you caring? They like to be a part of something, some part of a cause that makes a difference in the lives of other people. Now, we all have all 4 personality types, but you're anchored in 1, 2, and sometimes 3 of them. And when you do that, when it gives you a good idea of why you are the way you are, why you think the way you think, but why some people get on your nerves or you just don't gel with, because it either can be character or it can be a personality conflict. You don't have things in common. Tobler's law says, that things that are like itself are closer to each other than things that are apart. Okay. So if someone is not vibing with you and you, every time you come around, they want to analyze everything and you want to have fun, they're a party pooper, right? But when you understand that, then you can speak into their listening. Okay. And I'm going to start putting some things together, kind of give you some examples of how you paint with a brush, dolphin, shark, urchin, whale, and you don't lose one person in your audience ever. Because everyone has all 4 personalities, but everyone also is anchored with a dominant personality. When you find that, and then a second dominant, then you go in between the lines, but you come back and you touch the other things as well. Okay. So those are the 4 personality types. I'm going to give you what we're going to do. We're going to send you out a link, and you're going to be able to take the quiz for the personality types and know what you are. And then we'll talk about what the next step is and tell you what to do with it as well. Now your voice is like a soundtrack to a movie. I talked about this. When you see a horror film and the woman's going up the stage and you know the guy with the big knife and the mask is right, he's upstairs, he just went up there, right? And there's some music that brings your body to tension. This is intentional. And then they open up the door and your body flinches, even if you're cool. It tightens up, and then there's nobody behind the door. So you bring them to tension and you bring it back down. And now they go grab the curtain and they open up the curtain. Bathroom is only this big, right? And your body slightly goes up. You're ready for it this time in most cases. There's nothing behind it goes right down. And then all of a sudden she turns around and you hear and here he comes, right? Well, what would happen if you took that serious music and behind that they had that blade and they wanted to stab and they said it would completely change the scene. So when you're utilizing your voice, you change the scene and the way a person's body feels to move your energy from yourself throughout your audience of 1, 10, or 10,000. Everyone feels you. And if you feel it, they feel it as well. So let's play with it. Loud and fast creates impact. When you speak loud and fast, you'll feel it in your spine, your nervous system will flare up. You'll feel the energy tingling up your spine. When you set yourself on fire, the world will come out and see you burn. Loud and slow is for emphasis. You're making a point. That's your applause line. When you set yourself on fire, the world will come out and see you burn. That's loud and slow. Low and fast is for an engagement. You may hear some speakers talking, and so many speakers are phenomenal. They do some of this intent. They do it all the time. They just don't know what they're doing, and that's why they would come to me to coach them, right? Low and fast is for engagement. You're letting people you know that you know, but you speak so fast, they can't write fast enough. And that's what's called an open loop. So write that down because I'm coming back there. You're creating an open loop when you go low and fast. You set yourself on fire, the world may come out and see you burn. It must be borne in mind that the true tragedy in life does not lie in not reaching your goal. The true tragedy lies in having no goals to reach for. It's not a disaster not to live your dreams, but it is a disaster not to dream. It's not a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for. Engagement. Keep them in a rhythm. And then low and slow is for emotion. It must be borne in mind that the true tragedy in life does not lie in not reaching your goal. The true tragedy lies in having goals to reach for. When you go low and slow, you take the nervous system and you smooth it out. You calm it down. But then when you take it up, even if you fall short, you come down with stardust. Loud and fast. In your hand. Boom. And you combine that because when you go loud and fast, that's your sharks. They see, they move. If you ever went deep sea fishing, look, you cast your rod in the water, the boat's going 40 to 50 miles an hour. You don't catch fish, they catch you. They see what's moving past and they attack. That's loud and fast. It happens suddenly, boom, they go. Okay? If they shy away quietly and go back to the bottom, that's low and slow. Their comfort zone is calmness. Keep it calm. Keep it calm. Now, as a speaker, as a trainer, as a teacher, you have to learn how and when to go to every one of those areas, when to calm it down. If someone's raising their voice, you lower yours and you bring down the tempo. And if you practice loud and fast and loud and slow, low and fast and low and slow, you'll be able to feel it in your tingling up your spine. So what I do in the class, I teach people how to use the vowels A-E-I-O-U. So loud and fast would be A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. And you fill it up your spine. Loud and slow would be A-E-I-O-U. Loud and fast, A-E-I-O-U. Low and fast, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. And if you're doing it now, you can feel it in your body. Here's the key. If you can feel it, that's the energy that you are sending out. Everything in the universe runs from frequency, energy, and vibration, which means everything speaks. And if you know how to be calm and stop yapping, you can get in alignment. Because it's not that you have to go get the things that you want. You have to be aware of how close they already are. And then low and slow, you have to calm it down. Calm it down. Relax. Be a part of it. Enjoy it. Bask in it. Chill out in it. Okay, I got a lot more to talk about. Let's talk about the power of storytelling. You know, we always say facts tell, but stories sell. Now, one thing that can help you with storytelling is that when you're reading a book, learn to read with your senses. When you're speaking, learn how to spark the imagination. Okay, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. But when you're reading the book and you read a paragraph and it talks about someone cooking on the stove in a pot, I want you to see the pot and see the steam coming from the pot. If it's been descriptive of what's in the pot, I want you to smell it. If someone's cutting up vegetables on the board, I want you to hear the chop, chop, chop on the board. If they're dragging a tree, I want you to hear it. If Jesus is dragging a cross, I want you to hear the cross, hear the crowd, hear a step being taken. Smell it, see it, and put yourself inside of the story. And if you do that, when you're telling a story, you'll create an experience for people. You create an experience where people can go on a journey within themselves, but they cannot go on by themselves. You are the guide through the power of storytelling. Now, one of the biggest challenges that people have is sharing their own story. When I'm training people and we have them in groups, so many people struggle the first day just telling the story about their own life. Because one of the things we forgot to do was to keep our life story connected. And in storytelling, you have to keep the story connected. Now, I want you to imagine a yellow taxi cab. It's late at night, the light's on, and this cab driver gets a call to pick up a passenger. It's late at night. He's driving down the street and all the street lights are out. All you can see is the cab light and the headlight. But he can see a light to the right, and there happens to be a store that's still open, and a lot of young men happen to be out in front of that store. I want you to see it. Imagine you see that right now. Now, stop. If you can imagine seeing the taxi cab, the reason you can do that is because I use the word imagine. If I use the word imagine, the brain goes to what I say next. So everybody hold their hand out like this and look at your hand and imagine a red apple in your hand. And you can see that red apple. Now you're looking at the red apple. Now turn it green. Now make it yellow. Now open up both hands and I want you to see two halves of an apple in your hands. I want you to see the seeds in the middle of the apple. Imagine you can see the seeds, and I want you to count the seeds in each half. And if I ask you to write down type in the chat, how many seeds do you see? Let's have some fun. How many seeds do you see? Open up your hand. How many seeds do you see in the apple? I see many of our students that are on here. I'd love to see you. Okay, we got 4, 6, 4, 5. All right, you see the seeds. Yeah, 3 in each hand. There you go. Very descriptive. 8 seeds in the hand. All right, 12. All right, now, there's no apple in your hand, but you saw it. You put it there, right? When you use the word imagine, the brain goes whatever comes next. Now, here's the magic. You can see the seeds in the imaginary apple, but you cannot ever count the amount of apples inside of those seeds. When you're speaking, your audience are like the seeds. And what you can never tell is how many other trees will blossom because of the story you told, the conversation that you had, the way that you communicated it. A life worth living is worth recording. This is all part of legacy. This is the thing that when you touch a life, they go on and touch someone else's life. And they take a part of that and touch someone else's life. And you live forever through those things because you're not just speaking into the listening, but you're speaking into the nervous system. You're painting a picture. You make them use their eyes with imagination. You see them holding the apple with their imagination. Close your eyes. Unless you're driving. No driving allowed. Close your eyes. I want you to see a waterfall. I want you to see the waterfall. Hear the water crashing on the rocks. Imagine there's a waterfall and you can hear it. Imagine you just hear the water crashing. I want you to get close. Put your face close to the water and feel the breeze of the water as the water rushes past your face. The coolness Imagine you can feel the coolness of it. And now a little drop of water hits a rock and touches your cheek. And I want you to imagine you feel the water touching your cheek. When you're sharing a story, that's how you share it. So the taxi cab driver, he pulls up to a stop. He blows the horn. No one comes out. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's ready to go home. He didn't really want to take the call in the first place, but he thought he'd just take one more on his way home. So then he gets out of the cab. He looks down the street, sees a light to make sure he's safe by the store where there's a lot of people out in front of it. He walks up gray stone steps. I want you to imagine you see the steps, 6 steps, step, gray stone. He goes to the door and he knocks on the door. Through the silhouette in the window, he can tell the silhouette of a woman coming towards him who was small and frail. He can see the outline of her body. I want you to see this woman slowly coming to the door. She opens up the door. She says, "Young man, have you been waiting long?" He says, "Yes, I blew my horn." He said, "I'm so sorry. I was in the back packing. I didn't hear you, but thank you so much for waiting." She has a bag in her hand, and the taxi cab driver says, "May I take your bag?" And he grabs the bag. She locks the door, and then he comes back down the steps with her on his other arm. Now she's on his right arm. He's got his left hand with the bag, leaning on the gray stones on the side railing of the steps. And he's coming down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sidewalk. He walks to the taxi cab door, and I want you to see him open up the door and help the woman in the car. Once she's in, he closes the door. Hear the car door close. He walks around to the other side of the car, opens up the door, hear the squeak of that door, and he puts the bag on the seat, and he closes the door. Hear it close. Boom. He gets inside of the taxi cab, puts on a seatbelt, looks in his rearview mirror, and he drives off. He says, "Where to?" He said, "Just go towards downtown. I love downtown. I just want to see the city I love and grew up with. Just go towards downtown. I'll tell you where to go." So he gets on the expressway, and you can see the lights passing the taxi cab on the window, and he's driving downtown Chicago. Once he gets in the heart of downtown, he said, "Lady, what's the address?" She says, "I'm sorry. I want to go to 53rd in Greenwood." He said, "Well, that's the other way. We passed it." She said, I apologize. I just wanted to see the city that I love. My husband always brought me down here, and I wanted to see the city." So he turns around and he's thinking, "Oh man, this lady's crazy. I passed this place 15 minutes ago." So he drives back and he says, "Well, where are you going?" She gives him the address to a church. It's 10 o'clock at night. He finds it to be strange. 10:15 now. He looks at his watch. Second hand's moving. He gets in front of the church and it's closed. It's completely black. I want you to see the darkness. It's black. It's a church. He said, "Lady, there's no one here." She says, "I figured that, but this is the church I grew up with, and it's the last time I'll ever see my city and the church that I grew up with. I'm going to a clinic, and if you could drop me off there, that would be my final stop." He doesn't know what to think now, so he drives off. A little twist, tightness in the stomach, a little queasy. And he pulls in front of the clinic, and he can see these glass doors, but they have tinted windows, but he can see the outline inside. So he gets out of the cab, right at the front. He grabs her bag, and he closes the door. He opens up the door for her, and you can see him help her out the car and help her onto the curb. Then he closes the door. And he says, "Do you mind if I walk in with you?" He sees a sign that says hospice clinic. See the words hospice. And now he understands what she meant. That's the last time she sees the city. So he walks her in, and a nurse comes to her and says, "Are you Mrs. Davenport?" He said, "Yes, I am." She says, "We've been waiting for you. Let me get this chair fixed up for you, and please have a seat." Before she sat in the chair, she turned to the young man and tried to press money in his hand, say, "This is for you. He says, ma'am, I cannot take it. He says, please, I have no more use for this money. You've been so kind to take me around to see the city and see my church. Please keep it. Do something kind for your family. He gets the money and the nurse wheels her away. And he says, stop, can you stop? He runs to the nurse and asks the woman, do you mind if I hug you? She smiles, he bends over and he gives her a hug. And she throws her hands around his back. He doesn't know what to feel. It's almost fear. He doesn't know how to even process what is happening. The nurse takes her around the corner and he goes back out through those two glass doors. And he gets in his taxi cab and he begins to just cry. And he thinks about the fact that he almost didn't pick that fare up. What if she would have gotten someone else who was mean to her and wouldn't be patient when she ran him around the city the way she did? And he couldn't pull off for another 15 minutes, just being so grateful, trying to absorb what had happened. And when you're telling the story, I want you to learn to tell the story and involve the senses of other people. Bring them into the story with you. No matter what it is, learn to tell that story with power, with passion, to soften your voice. Sometimes if you're in a baseball game or you're out in a sporting event and there's cheering, you want to hear that. I got stories for that as well. When you finish telling your story, someone in the audience from time to time will say, impact. We were raised on stories. We were raised with stories. I'm also known to use a lot of poems and prose when I'm speaking, because when I use a poem, I'm speaking to the 8-year-old child that lives inside of every adult, that grew up with Now I Lay Me Down Too, Rockabye Baby on the Tree. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears, Goldilocks, Sleeping Beauty, stories, poems. The poems work because the brain, I talked about the open loop earlier, write down open loop. The brain always seeks what's next. That's what's called creating an open loop. Now, I'll give you an example. If you ever heard a song and you were trying to sing along, but you didn't know all the words, that's how you learn, right? Okay. Now it says, I don't see any, I imagine them. That's what I want you to do. Okay. Now, when you try to sing the words to a song, if you don't know one of the words, or you're someplace and someone else is singing and they don't know the word, they either make up a word or skip over it like it never happened. The next time you hear the song, your brain is searching for the gap to fill it. That's how you learn. That's the reason soap operas, General Hospital has been around for 63 years. What's going to happen next? You know, that's Law and Order. What's going to happen next? We get associated with characters. What's going to happen with these characters next? That's called an open loop. So when you're speaking, you always want to create a loop where there's more. And they can get the remainder of the story, or they can get the conclusion or find out what really happened when they get that book. It's in the book, or it's in your program, or the next time you're speaking, or it's in the webinar you're going to do, or in the training or the coaching, the outcomes to get the brain to want and desire what's next. That's an open loop. Okay. Poems, they appeal to the child that lives in every adult. Most people don't know how fast they can swim until they have sharks that are pursuing them. But the ones who succeed in life's great race are the ones who wisely set their pace. Their pace is not set as fear requires, but every stroke is a product of their desires. So if you ever find yourself swimming in an ocean filled with decisions, you can choose to be guided by your fears or by your visions. Not us. We're the ones who will reach our goals, or the ones who will set high marks, because we won't be waiting to see those sharks. I help people to create poems, to look up poems, create them, because you want to create an experience for your audience. It takes them in and out, in and out, in and out. You bring them in, you bring them in, you bring them in, you bring them in. People have always come to see me speak and always never fall asleep and never walk out because they don't know what I'm going to say next. I use a lot of humor, a lot of humor. You know, that's called a pattern interruption. So I could be speaking about something very seriously, and then I'll say, you have to stay positive. Everyone say positive. Yes, you got to stay positive. In my household, we're commanded to stay positive. One day, my son came home, and he was looking down and out. And I said, son, what's the matter? He said, Dad, I'm afraid I failed my math test. I say, son, pick your head up. You got to stay positive. Got to be positive in this house. He said, okay, Dad, I'm positive I failed my math test. You get chuckles from that. Then you quote individuals that have credibility like Benjamin E. Mays. I have only just a minute. Each has 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, you can't refuse it. You did not seek it, and you did not choose it. Now it's up to you to use it. I will suffer if I lose it, be held an account if I abuse it, because every little minute has eternity wrapped up in it. I have hundreds of stories, poems, principles, jokes, things that you can insert in there. I could talk about something serious, and I could say, okay, how do you eat an elephant? And everybody knows the answer. They say one bite at a time. Great. And I say, then what do you give an elephant with diarrhea? A whole lot of room, and you move. And it's a pattern interruption. Get the brain to move. See, if I move the soil, I can put more seed in. I shake the soil, I put the seed in. Shake the soil, I put the seed in. I teach people how to create content, how to drive and collect content, how to remember the content. I was teaching the last class on how to lock a phone number into their memory. We made up a phone number, and I could summon most of them, and 30% of them could tell you what that number was. Simply by the way they cut their eyes and the way they use visualization. Okay. I love doing what I do. This is so cool. All right, what's next? Signature talk. I also love teaching people how to create a signature talk. You know, you can create a signature talk once you identify your gold medal talent, what it is you do exceptionally well, because you can monetize anything. You know, the world is changing right now with technology. And, you know, I was in California and in Atlanta, and, you know, right now we do have driverless cars. We have the Uber cars. They're not Uber, it's another company, but they're driverless. And in the next 2 years, they're going to be everywhere. So all the people making additional money with Uber and Lyft, they won't be essential, because not only does it create and eliminate a lot of liability, because you can't get accosted or be disrespected if there's nobody in the car. They'll have cameras to make sure it's not you. Okay? But they already have them. They already have driverless 18-wheel trucks on the highways right now. And when that becomes more mainstream, you won't need as many diners down the road, because you won't have the truckers. You just have a few cars. Okay? And then even Uber Eats, they'll be able to go through the window and scan it with your phone, and the window comes down, slides your food out. Or a drone is going to come up out this roof and it's going to come and drop it up at your doorstep. There'll be some instances where you have to do it, but even now, they have McDonald's right now with no people. Do you really think you need a person to flip a hamburger? You know what a Kit Kat is? A cookie with chocolate in the middle, with ridges on the top, wrapped up in aluminum foil, and then have a red sleeve over it. And they can make a Kit Kat with a machine. They don't need you to flip a hamburger and put fries in the bag. They already proved that at McDonald's right now. So the world's changing. You know, there's about 13% of medical procedures that right now in China are being done without a surgeon in the room. And their success rate is 6% higher than a human being. And it's in China right now being tested. Flying cars are next. Technology is moving. There's nothing we can do about it. It's part of it. So how are we going to accessorize that? How are we going to create a space for us to continue to take care of our families? How are we going to make income? Movies. I have a streaming television network. We have 2, and we're about to launch a 3rd one. Do you know they can take a picture of Tom Cruise and a sample of his voice and make an entire movie? Because if you look at most action films now, you have so much AI behind it, a lot of those scenes aren't even real. They can take a picture of you and make a movie and make the hands and everything move like they want it to move, to make the gestures they want to have, to make you run a certain way, and you'll never know it. There goes the cameraman and the lighting, because you won't need them. The director will be behind a computer or given a vision, but you won't need the actors. You won't need the extras. You can put them in there. A lot of times you see movies or scenes where there's big crowds in the arena and thousands of people. It's only about 200 people, and they block them off and put them in different sections. They already do a lot of this stuff. So a lot of things are going to be shifting. The world is shift. Everybody says shift. So you have to shift. You have to pivot with it, be ahead of it. That's the beautiful thing about being a speaker. You have to read. If you're going to be an educator, you have to read. You have to re-educate yourself. You have to move away from the linear part of doing things and create your own economy. If they're getting a lot of people out of the country, they say, well, who's going to help our farms? Trust me, they're going to make sure people are going to have to go help on those farms. Everything in this country and in this world is being done by design. And it's not about being fearful about it. It's about understanding it and being ahead of it. Because innovation is the theme of the day. You can create the life that you want to live, but you have to shift outside of the life you've always known. Because sometimes the way we think and the way we operate in life is like we have hand-me-down furniture just passed on from somebody else to us, and we sit back on that couch, and it's comfortable for now. Okay. But life is always about moving. It's about growing. It's about evolving. It's like the caterpillar and the butterfly. The caterpillar looked at the butterfly and said, you changed. And the butterfly said, we're supposed to. We're supposed to evolve, not hold on to the identity we have, but evolve from that identity to create foundations. I love foundations because in life, you never hit rock bottom, only rock foundation. I love it because you build upon a foundation. I don't like ceilings, but there are no ceilings if you have the imagination, if you become a seeker, if you read more. And what's one of the things we love to teach, because not only teach you how to speak, but in school they taught us what to think, but didn't do such a great job of teaching us how. So we just kind of open it up a little bit, not to put suggestions in your mind, but to get a person to stimulate thinking and how they want to operate. Framework, hook, story, offer. Hook, story, offer. It's one of the key components and recipes that Russell Brunson uses. He's done $1 billion in sales. He's trained people who have made tens of millions of dollars, one of the best in the world at what he does. And we were in Boise, Idaho not too long ago, and we were learning a lot of things. We've been studying hook, story, offer for a long time. So when you have a hook, your hook is going to be the statement you're going to make that's going to draw a person in. So once you understand what your gold medal talent is that you want to monetize, we'll help you build out your signature talk, but you got to create the hook. What's going to draw them in? And this what's going to be the story that you have that people can identify with, that you will overcome the objections before they even come up. Because in the human condition, in our human experience, we all have a track of things we're always going to have in common. No matter where you come from, they're always going to be the same. And then what's the offer? The offer is compelling, and that's your solution that a person's crazy if they don't take it. So we're going to teach you how to build out your personal framework and open up the door there. And then the marketing and the branding. Marketing will make you money, but branding will make you wealthy. What's your brand? What's your brand? The people say, I want to create a legacy. You already are. Now, where's the legacy going? Do you have a business plan? Do you have an exit strategy? What are you doing in the business? Are you investing in personal and business development? In life, man, we got to keep learning and yearning if we want to keep earning, because life is like an escalator that's going down. If you don't keep stepping by default, you lose space. You go backwards because nothing stays the same. All of us had more hair once upon a time. Our hair texture was a little different. We used to move a lot different. We don't move around like we did when we were 10, 14. I don't want to. Yes, you do. I look at a tree sometimes and I say, I wish I could still climb that tree. Well, boy, I got over that when I was in my 30s, because when you're 30, you're intelligent enough to know the fall will hurt. The recovery is a long time, okay? So personal and business development is everything. It's all about the way you think. Your thoughts impact your words impact and influence your actions. Continuous actions create your habits. The poet said, who am I? I am your constant companion. I'm your greatest helper, your heaviest burden. I can lift you upward, or I can drag you down to failure. If you teach me to do a thing repeatedly, I'll do it automatically. I am easily managed, but you must be firm with me. I'm the first for all those who are great, and the last, those who are failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, yet I operate with the precision of a machine. yet the intelligence of a human being. But if you teach me and train me, I'll lay to work at your feet. If you are easy with me, I will destroy you. You can run me for profit, or you can run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Who am I? I am called Habit. Habit is my name. In personal development, it goes into stagecraft. In stagecraft, your F45 is the first 45 seconds when you get in front of the room, the stage, the boardroom, the classroom. How are you going to own it? What are you going to do to set the tone? How are you going to mentally and spiritually prepare yourself to go into that stage and become fully self-expressed to release? How you channel your energy so when you let it go, it flows from your body and touches everyone in the room. Even if there's 20,000 people, you can even lower your voice and the person in the back of the room can hear the whisper because you're talking to them. We teach all these things about how to create state. We do a lot of cool things. The improv teaches you how to ebb and flow, how to connect, how to relax. We open up the mind so you can learn more and absorb more, but also how to deliver more, because you should pull this stuff out and it should come out. And it comes through work. It comes through practice. I think you have to speak 100 times before you become great, but after 10, you can be good, as long as it's not 10 a year. You want to learn how to write your books and create your brand. To create the branding is everything. I was with my dear friend, Kevin Harrington. He's the first shark on Shark Tank. He was the first person in our TV network, and he was also on my board. And he's been a great friend for almost 2 decades now. And I asked him to come speak at an event for a young lady, Martha Razzo, last weekend in Naperville, Illinois. And he came out and he was doing his presentation. And he was talking about branding, how Richard Branson had told him. Now, this guy not only was the first shark on Shark Tank, okay? They hired him first, but he also was the founder of the infomercial, okay? So he's been out there a long time. He's the first person to discover Kim Kardashian. No, she got fired, but first person to discover Kim Kardashian. She's not a quitter. So he was talking about Richard Branson told him you got to build your brand. You build your brand through books, collaborative books, and your personal story. If you're not ready to have your personal story, get in as many collaborative books as you can to become a published author. Then we move to TV networks. Our TV network, limitlesstv.net, jd3tv.com. We stream on Roku, Amazon, Apple, and Android TV. We're about to open up another platform I'm not at liberty to talk about right now that launches in January, to get you out there, magazines, to get you in there, virtual and live, podcasting, radio shows. And I'm going to teach you every single time you do it how you're going to build your community, build your database, and be amazing and give away amazing gifts to people that bring high value. But you're only looking for the people that are looking for you. I always say I'm looking for the people who are looking for me while I'm looking for them looking. Yeah, Gene Taylor, he says, action creates your habits. Habits describe your character, and character equals your destiny. You don't get what you want. You get who you are. So this is about learning something and then becoming a part of that. When I was named to be the Grand Prior General of the United States, of all the knights and dames in the United States and other countries as well, it was such an honor. But it's not just what we do, it's a calling on how we live, the faith, hope, and charity. Now, is everybody going to like you and follow in line with you? Probably not, but that's not the key. I happen to like and love everybody. I just know how to love them from across the street sometimes. That's all part of personal development. Business development is going to be about culture, and culture is linked to communication, verbal and nonverbal. How you're speaking and how you're treating the people around you. Do you have their best interests at heart? Do they know it? Are they enrolled into this process? Are you allowing them to bring their genius in? See, many hands make light work, but many great hands make phenomenal work. Create history. To be able to shift the trajectory of your family forever. And you don't have to do it for money. You do it for the impact. If you don't like the money, then give it away to somebody else who needs it. Because money's not everything, but it's attached to everything you value. So personal and business development is key. Do you know how many broke speakers we have out here? How many broke coaches? Because whoever taught us how to manage our money, and the people who know how to manage money and need to know how to speak. But perhaps you can bring them together. Maybe you have a talent to do this and somebody has a talent to do that. You create a joint venture. Now you become even more powerful, but it has to be anchored in core values. had to be anchored in a character, has to be anchored in a philosophy, or has to be anchored in a culture that you all can gel with, that you can complement each other, that you can serve one another with. Okay, that's the key. Some of the testimonials that we have, Jay Johnson was a gentleman that used to be with a company called Speaking Empire, and they would charge $20,000 just to build a talk in PowerPoints, and he was the one building it. And I would always see him in the back. And they came to me years later asking me if I would take over their company and be the face of it. But I said, no, I have Inspired to Speak. It's a pretty cool name. I'll pass, but they're wonderful people and I love them dearly. But I knew I wanted that gentleman who was creating everything they were offering. Oh, man. And I was extremely honored because he had never been to their training. So when he came to our training, and then we put him in the room with our governor and who owns the Marriott hotel chain, put him in a room with people like the president of the Chicago Cubs and White Sox. And then he began to find his voice. And now he's around every celebrity, every major speaker in the world. He is our lead trainer. And he has a story to tell because he found that voice and the opportunity with Inspired to Speak. And we're honored, thrilled, and blessed to have him there. Jerome McQueen, he specializes in STEM and STEAM, right? He's a techie. He's a nerdy. He wants to know this stuff. He came to our camp. He'd never spoken before. He got built out a signature talk in camp. He got a signature talk. The ask was $75,000 for the training. He got a client in 2 weeks. Then he got a couple more for $10,000. Then he got another hire for another $10,000. All not just because of the training, because he went out there and took action. So a lot of people get the information, but get stuck when it comes to action. But we're going to tell you how we help solve that. And that's just a couple of the testimonials that they have. I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to pop another one in here if I can. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, well, I'm not going to be able to do that now, but I'm going to leave it here. We have to change our formatting, so I'll put it here. Other testimonials. These are some of the people that I've got a chance to hang out with and do a lot of business with. What up the upper left would be Mario Lopez. Under that is Spike Lee. Another, that's a charitable event. Two of those slides are from Speaker Camp. But I will tell you that we've been very blessed to have been able to share the stages with some incredible people. And Les Brown, if you were to Google Les Brown and James Dentley, he always endorses what we do. We used to bring him in to speak. I've spoken on the stage with just about everyone. We trained with Tony Robbins, some of the best in the world. So really honored to get an opportunity to kind of share those things with you and open up the door. We've had an opportunity when I spoke at Disney at the Be Great conference, and I received the Humanitarian Be Great Award. When that happened, we took about 20 people of our speakers with us, and they had VIP treatment, VIP access. We went to House of Blues with VIP treatment, VIP access, free food and drinks. And then we went to Disneyland. It wouldn't be a big deal, except we got there at 10 o'clock at night, and they closed at 9. But they opened back up for us, and we stayed out for 10 o'clock in the morning with rides and food and drinks and having a great time and networking and taking those pictures where people get a chance to be in a situation that most people never can. We have different cruises that we go on with different speakers. We have a cruise coming up September 26th, and we have about 4 cabins left. So if anyone's interested in going on a mastermind cruise, it's going to be incredible. One of our key speakers will be Dame Doria Cordova. That means she has been knighted, but she also was a mentor to Tony Robbins when it comes to finance, and Robert Kiyosaki, and many other well-known famous individuals. She introduced Robert to Sharon Lecter, who actually wrote all 14 of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad books as well. So we talk about the testimonials from everyday people whose lives has changed that are out there speaking and getting gigs and making it happen. On the other side, there's some people who get the information and sit on it, or they refuse to grow. Now, we put some things in place to kind of help people to get there if they're willing to do the work. Tracy Brooks says, I'm going. Jan Foreman says, I'm going. Indeed, they are. They're on the cruise. So why? Why do I do this? I was very fortunate to be able to retire from my work life January 13th of 1995 and earn residual income. And September 2026. Not September 26th, September 2026, Don. Okay. I believe it's a 7-day cruise. We go to Alaska. We're leaving out of Seattle, and we have events prior to that. And while we're there, we're going to have a great time. And we're going to film it all as well and create reels. But I do what I do, first of all, for my family. To be an example is everything. Just to be an example for your family, to be able to do some things. Um, when I went to school, I was a D average student. I have honorary doctorate degrees. I'm doing my fourth commencement speech on the 18th, this upcoming Saturday, where some people will be given the honor of doctorate or have their PhD. And that's going to be my fourth commencement speech, as I got my doctorate as well. So just to be able to set the example and set the tone and create the access where people can have the experiences. My mother raised myself and my three sisters as a single parent working in a grocery store. So we didn't come from money. We had to create our path. But I was able to walk away January of 1995 because some people I met saw something in me, and I was willing to listen, and I was willing to shut up and trust and do what they asked to do, what they asked me to do. And it worked. And that's how I created the platform and the foundation of my recipe. And I've learned it's easy to create money. That's not hard. It's really about solving a problem and filling a need. What are you giving up value to another? Not what I want, but how do I create what you want? It's a sense of purpose. A lot of people can make money, but most can't make a difference. We've helped over about 100 people now make between $1 and $20 million. Again, they did the work, but there's a lot more people that made $500,000, $100,000, $50,000. And it's so important because of the give back. We have our organization alreadyaways.amazing.org. And under that, we pick 7 nonprofits every year that we own, that we keep a lid on, that do great work. And we have support them every single year. And when people call me and ask me to support the charity, look, I'm already in for 7 plus mine. That's what we do. We try to give back. But I believe the more people we can help create success, the more people we can help together. It's all about giving back to make a difference to the people you care about, the community you care about, the things that are important to you. And then to live by the Knight's Code: faith, hope, and chivalry, honor. How do we operate? How do we treat one another? How do we just have the audacity to believe that we can make the world just a little bit better? And that's what speakers do. You're not talkers, you're speakers. You're speaking life to another human being that they'll never forget. So some of the results are more money, more impact, a sense of purpose, more freedom, and the legacy you create, the track you create, because it only takes one person to change the history of a family. If it's not going to be you, then who? If it's not going to be this way, then what way? If it's not going to be right now, then when? These are the results of us working together. So I want to kind of talk about some of the things we do. We have a new membership program that we launched about 2 weeks ago. We're really excited about that. We have great offers there. Our action camp, I'll talk about that. If you're interested in how you can get with us and show us your interest, but if you decide to do nothing, we have gifts for each and every one of you all, just because you stay to the end, and I'm almost there. Our mastermind program is really about business growth. That's when I'm putting you in a room with people who have built companies of millions, hundreds of millions, and billions of dollars. And we look at this strategy and put you in the room with people to build the relationships, to be able to get what you need. And most of that is really the mindset. It's really the mindset and the relationships, who to call, who you can get counsel from. How do you create this money? We'll teach you things about Roth IRAs and things that are not taught in mainstream, the things that the wealthy people use. Why do wealthy people not pay taxes? You think it's unfair? It's the law. If they understand it, they pay a lot less than people who don't have it. And that's important for you to know how to do it, how to play by a different rule book, okay? And then our gold program is when we build everything out for you. We have a series of stages virtually, and we have live stages. And we're making a pivot. We're going to have some incredible live stages with some incredible sponsorship. And we're going to do some incredible things with that. And with our gold program, you get to be exposed to a lot of things that we do outside of the speaking arena. Many folks have been to our Knighting Investitures and seen people get ignited by the actual prince and dukes and duchess and so forth. And it's been an incredible experience with that. From the Disney events to movie premieres to just meeting people. We even had a party one time at the Rolls-Royce dealership. And our last speaker camp, we now included a luxury photo shoot. So now you get a chance to be on a Rolls-Royce and take and take your photos right next to the Rolls Royce. That's for your marketing and your branding. Okay. And plus, we want you to get used to what's coming. So the action camp, if somebody came to our action camp, we kind of broke it down. This is what it would cost for every aspect of it. It's 4 days virtual, 4 days live all day. Psychology and stagecraft training, storytelling development. We got to work with that. You'll do it over and over. You get certification there. You'll be able to be on some of our stages there. We're going to supply your lunch, your continental breakfast. We have a 152-page workbook syllabus. And now we have a personalized workbook. And this is a prize and a special gift for each and every attendee too that comes. So that's what that's all about. Now we know the total of that, the value of that is astronomical. It's about $15,000. But for people who want to be a part of it, they can come for $5,000, and financing is available. So if this is making sense, you can simply go into the website and you can register there, and you can contact us directly. We can work out financing for you. The next camp is going to be in March. So we invite you you have plenty of time to get there, but we have some bonuses for you. We have 2 alumni dates for 2026. So you're going to get a chance to come back to another camp and come to the alumni training. The camp may cost you about $300 for your food only. You won't need the same books. So we have anything new, you'll get that included. So you want to pay the $5,000 there. And then we have the alumni training. And that's maybe like under $300, $250 or something like that. We're coming together every year, and we'll then feature you, and you network with all the other speakers that's been through the courses through the years. And we look at what's working for you, different ways of marketing yourself, different ways of branding yourself, different stages that you can go on, creation of stages and events for yourself, and all that's going to be included in that. So when you come to alumni, it's about what is everybody else doing and how can we piggyback on that success. You get to come back to the camp, and then we have joint venture and stage opportunities. In other words, you get a chance to make money with us. And we give you all of that, and it's simply $5,000. Again, you can finance it. You can make payments. We can work that out if you have the interest in being there. So I want you to get on this barcode that's on there. Simply take a screenshot of that. That will get you to inspiredtospeak.com. But wait, there's more. There's more because you got free gifts coming for being here. And we even got more than that. Okay? So screenshot that, inspiredtospeak.com, or you can contact our office directly, or you can email me directly at jd3media.com. jd@jd3media.com. We also started shooting episodes for a TV network. So you'll be a part of the episode, and you'll be on the Inspired to Speak Success TV network. So you'll be a part of that, Limitless TV as well. So that's just there. But wait, there's more. The next camp is March 11th through the 15th. Now, we have the accelerated membership. Now, once you get done with camp, number one, you become part of the community and you stay in the community. So we're going to have ongoing things you'll be able to get in the community on an ongoing basis forever by being in the camp. We just launched our Accelerator Speaker Success Accelerator Membership Program. It's $197 a month, but for people who want to sign up today, you get it for $97 a month. If you want to pay it for the year, you get 2 months free, and that's $9.97. You're going to have access to the speaker community. We're going to have a plethora of free courses in the academy for you. So you'll get a lot of free courses. It's going to be about 30 of them for you. You're going to get the virtual training. Everything I went through now is we have a virtual training with all those things in it. It goes even deeper. So that training product, and that sells for $9.97 period. You get that inside of that. Early event announcements. When we have our events, you get early bird announcements, but don't worry, there's even more. So you're going to know about everything that's happening first, and you're going to have first dibs, which gives you the early bird pricing. Funding and grant resources. If money's an issue, we're going to talk about funding resources, how you can create more money, how you can get business grants, how you get nonprofit grants. And then we have speaker resources for you. We have, tremendous amount, unlimited amount of pages of speaker resources to help you on your speaking journey so that you can go through that as you see fit. AI prompts, and we're going to teach you all the chat tools and everything you need where AI is going, as it is so many different. Bordy is out there, ChatBT 3 is out there, ChatBT is out there. There's so much technology out there. We're going to give you a list of all the technology and tools to do whatever you need to do, whether it be media, whether it be your PR, whether you need to get a virtual assistant, you want to pay $6 an hour to help you out. We have all those things at hand. You have access to all of that. We have affiliate and joint venture income opportunities. So now we have opportunities that you can make money with us as well. Okay. So everything we're doing, you can be a brand ambassador for it. And then we have marketing and branding tutorials. And that's going to be created by some of the best people in the industry. How to write your own book is going to be there. How to work with somebody to be in a collaborative book. How to sell your books, more importantly. So that's a new membership program. It's normally $197 for that program. You sign up for it tonight, it's $97 a month, or you can pay for the year, $997. So it's $97 a month, which is something simple, very affordable for people to do. And we have a special treat for you. You sign up for that, and then you want to go into the live program. I got something special for you for that, but that's only for the people who take action. Bonus number one. When you sign up into that program at $97 a month, you're going to have free general admission access to all of our virtual 10X Impact programs and our 10X Empire events and our live programs at general admission. So we have a live program, general admission. That means you get to come in at no cost, and that's going to go with that. So everyone that's in that community, they don't pay for any of these events that we have. Number two, I'm about ready to launch my new book, The Sixth Frequency. You're going to get the first copies of that book, and that's going to be the spring of 2026. You'll get it before it's actually launched. And then you become a brand ambassador as well. A brand ambassador means you're a high-level affiliate, which means you'll maximize the amount of money you make for referrals. And then when you have programs and products, we'll refer your programs and products out in our marketplace to help sell your stuff once we vet it. The only thing I ask people is that we do what we say we're going to do, and you get the best service possible. And always give a money-back guarantee to your clients. Okay, always. Just do great work. You don't have to ever worry about it. I've been offering guarantees for over 30 years, and no one has ever taken me up on it. As a matter of fact, we had a camp, and a woman left out at the end of the camp, and she came back, and she had been crying. And she walked up to me, and I asked her what was the problem. And she said, she was speaking with her girlfriend in the parking lot. And when she signed up for the camp, she only did it because it was a money-back guarantee. And she knew she was going to ask for her money back and just take the camp. When she walked out, she called her girlfriend. He said it was so good, so life-impacting that she could not ask for her money back. She didn't have the heart to do it. And she said, I really needed it. I took money I couldn't afford to spend. And in my pocket, I had about $300 or $400. I gave it back to her. And then we announced to everyone what had happened, and that she had the courage to come back, and the honesty and integrity to operate with that. And everybody chipped in. She ended up with twice as much that she invested. So that was pretty cool. And that's the way we love to operate. Now, don't bank on that next time. Don't make that your strategy. But however, we always want to do the right thing and the best we possibly can to help you to succeed. Okay. So to get into the online program, to get into the community, is $97 a month. So you don't have to worry about trying to spend $5,000 or $1,000 a day if you don't want to. If you want both of them, then sign up for the other course, and then you'll be able to get this one. But if you want to get into this course by itself, and even if you've taken the course before, and now you want to get continuous education and be a part of this community, because this is a community we're going to focus on growing. We actually have another one that's at a higher level that we're going to release later with even more perks and more value in it. So grab your phones and get this QR code right now on your phone, or take a picture of the screen and type it to the website. And you got 24 hours to sign up at that price point to be able to keep that price and to get those gifts. Fair enough? Now, you ready for your free gifts? They're going to be sent to you by email. I believe every week you're going to get a free gift, or you'll get two the first week and two the second week. This is what I have for you. First of all, you're going to get the personality quiz. Find out what your personality is. The second gift is going to be 31 Days of Inspiration series. Now, in that series, we're going to give you a link every day for 31 days on your cell phone. You're going to get 2 or 3 minutes of myself inspiring you, and take some of that content and use it. You're going to get a digital copy of my book, The 5 Frequencies of High Performance. What are the frequencies and energies? How are you in alignment? See, the great success is about being in agreement. Money goes where it's invited and it stays where it's welcome. And when you invite someone to your home, well, you're in preparation to receive guests. So you must be in preparation mentally, spiritually, in your being to receive money, because money is going to show up. If not, it's going to pass by your door. It stays where it's welcome. You always feel welcome when you're amongst your own. And that applies to everything. This goes back to Tobler's law. Things that are alike and closest to itself are closer than things that are apart. So if you're making money, more money wants to stay there because it's amongst itself. And then you're going to get a virtual general admission just for being here today to our 10X Impact Summit, virtual summit that's taking place on November 8th and November 15th. We have Saturday from 10 to 3 on November 8th. Part 2 is November 15th. If you miss it, you'll get the replays as well. And for the people who join the community, there's even more. So having said that, I want to say thank you so much for listening. I hope some of this information has been impactful for you. My team and I look forward to communicating with you further. Again, you can go to JD at JD3media.com. JD at JD3media.com if you want to communicate with me directly, or you can go get with my team or go to Inspired to Speak, get signed up, make your deposits today. We put 20 people in a class, 20 new people. Then we allow some people to return from a previous class to be there. So just make sure you're getting registered, put down a deposit, hold your spot, or the next one after that will be in June. So having said that, God bless each and every one of you guys. I hope some of this information has helped you. I know that Albert Corey is here and Jan Fortman. I will open it up for some Q&A. And if you have some questions or you have a comment or something you want to say if you've attended the camp, just type it in the chat. We can address that now. Oh, I see some folks here getting honorary doctorate degrees. Oh, my goodness, it's going to be exciting. Remember that accolades, trophies, and titles, they're for go, not for show. They precede you when you walk into a room. Hello, Sabrina. How are you? So good to see you. Hey, Vernon, how you doing, sir? Bernie Rogers here. Leah Wallace. Hi, Leah. Laura Jones is here. All right, Shannon Wright. Hello, the great Shannon. Dr. Jan Fortman, Dr. Michael Matthews, Albert Corey. If you ever need somebody to work with your finances, your accounting, Albert Corey is the man. That's the one I trust. Tracy Brooks. Okay, Mike Matthews. It goes on and on and on. Hey, Dawn. I'm not going to go through everybody. There's quite a few. Robin, very good. Gina. Yep. Cynthia, Willie, Gina. It's pretty incredible. So God bless you guys. Have a wonderful night. This is going to conclude this presentation. I hope I gave you something of value. Hello, Lolita. Good to see you. I know we're going to see you in the next camp. And Dorothy, great. Fantastic. Karen's here. Cindy's here. Wow. And the hits keep on coming. Royaline, Dorothy Brown, Laura. Wow. Very good. All right. We'll see you guys next time. And, get plugged in. This community is going to be very explosive. We give you a lot of, when you come to a live event, the least amount is $99 to show up. So you can come to all the live events now with general admission at no cost whatsoever. And that's going to be pretty cool. So a lot of things that'll get you value and some and then some. And let's go out there and make a difference together and make some money while you're at it. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful evening. And I'm going to conclude this with a song, no music.
Can I ask you a question? Everybody say question. If there was a way that I could say how great you could be, would you listen to me? If you wanted to listen to me for just a minute, say I. Ah, good. Okay, here's another question. Everybody say question. If there was a price that you could pay that would give you the life that you seek, would you pay that price? If you wanted to pay the price to achieve your goals and dreams, say I. Say I. Say I. Ooh, all right, we're coming, okay. Last question. Everybody say question. If there was some work that you could do, would you roll up the sleeves? Now you know the work is on you. If you're willing to go to work for your goals and dreams, say I. And if there was a promise of silver and gold, of pleasures and treasures and fortunes untold, would you do what it takes? Would you do what it takes no matter how tough, and would you dare never quit when the going gets rough? Would you do what it takes? Would you build something great? Would you let it build you? You have a dream, you have a goal, there's something else you must do. Do what it takes. Because as you're building that dream has to build you. That dream has to build you. That dream has to build you. If there was a price that you could pay that would give you the life that you seek, would you pay that price? If you're willing to pay the price to achieve your goals and dreams, say I. Say I. If there was some work that you could do, would you roll up the sleeves? Now you know the work is on you. If you're willing to go to work for your goals and dreams, say I. You have a dream, you have a goal, there's something else you must do. Because as you're building that dream has to build you. And if there was a promise of
right now, wherever you are listening to this CD, I want you to repeat these words. Repeat them with power and confidence and with every fiber of your being, just believing in the words that you speak. Say the words, I am a winner. I am a winner. Say, I can make it. I can make it. Say, there is greatness in me. There is greatness in me. And say, I am amazing just the way I am. I am amazing just the way I am. Say it again. Say it again. I am a winner. I am a winner. I can make it. I can make it. There is greatness in me. There is greatness in me. And I am amazing just the way I am. I am amazing just the way I am. One of my favorite songs in the world is a song by Bruno Mars. It's called Amazing. The words say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change because you're amazing just the way you are. Second verse, it says, every time you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while because you're amazing just the way you are. You're amazing. Yes, 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 you are amazing. You are a masterpiece. You are one of a kind. There's none other like you. You're not only a masterpiece, there's greatness in you because you are a piece of the master. I am a winner. I can make it. There is greatness in me. I am amazing just the way I am. The way that you talk to yourself influences everything in your life. It's about the conversations that we have between our two ears. Now, if I ask you the question, how many people that are listening actually talk to themselves? Well, most people would confess that talking to yourself is usually the act of a crazy person. If you go down downtown area of any major city, you'll see somebody talking to themselves and answering themselves and sometimes even arguing with themselves. Yeah, you all know what I'm talking about. But you know what? Some people are ashamed to talk to themselves. And I know some people say, well, James, I do it all the time. Well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been driving along in your car and you were talking to yourself and someone in the other car looked over and saw you and then you pretended as if you were singing? Yes, we've all done that too, right? Because talking to yourself is an act of a crazy person. Say it again. Say it again. I am a winner. I am a winner. I can make it. I can make it. There is greatness in me. There is greatness in me. And I am amazing